It's 2024. If you don't know how to do your own makeup yet, it's okay. I got you. This day I prep with two primers, the Bobbi Brown and the One Size primer, and I let that dry down for a minute or two before going in with my brows. For my brows, I go in with the Makeup Revolution brow gel, and I use that to really sculpt out my eyebrows before going in with the Milani brow pen. Using this pen helps me get those hair-like strokes, and then I go in with my concealers. I mix them just so that it's not super bright under my eye, and I use that to carve out the bottom of my eyebrows, and then at the top I use my actual foundation to blend it. For my foundation, I like going in with a flat brush before a more dense brush to blend it out, and then at the top of forehead I like to use a smaller brush so that I'm not messing up my hair, and then I go in with my first concealer, which today I'm using my Huda Beauty one. I like to blend out my makeup with brushes more than like beauty sponges because I just feel like I have a lot more control over it, and it's also not absorbing a lot of my products. For my second concealer, I'm using my e.l.f. concealer, and while that dries down, I go in and I contour my face with my black opal stick. The e.l.f. concealer dries down pretty quickly, so to blend that out, I like to spray my brush with a little setting spray, and then that helps me to blend it out a lot easier. I use my puff to make sure that everything is nice and seamless before going in with my setting powders. First, I went in with my One Size just to set everything, and I press it in, and I don't bake at this stage. I like to press it in first. To bronze, I like to go in with my Juvia's Place palette in the shade Dark. I love to bronze up my face because it gives me a nice warm look. Then I go in with my Laura Mercier setting powder, and this is what I use to bake my face. My all-time favorite blush is this blush from NARS. It's called Exhibit A, and it just looks so good on our dark skin. For my lips, I like to go with this Kiss lip liner, and then I use the Morphe lipstick in the shade Virgin. Then I go in with my setting sprays, Charlotte Tilbury, and the One Size setting spray as well to seal everything up. Then I just top off my lip combo with this lip gloss in the shade Guava. A little mascara, and that's the look, ladies. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment down below.
step. This video might be a little long, so if you don't have time right now, save this and come back later. So I'm a brow first girly. I always make sure my brows are nice and dry before I go in with a pencil. I personally like brow hair strokes, so I use my Precisely My Brow to draw a natural brow. And then I go with a pot concealer. I use this soft matte concealer, which is from NARS, to shape my brows up with some concealer. Then I go into my primer. I like to do something that's moisturizing as well as priming. So I'm gonna use this Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base and put this all over. Once I'm all primed, I go into foundation. For every day, I love a skin-like foundation. That's why I love this Pat McGrath one. You see how this just blends out into the skin? It's so pretty. I like to use a kabuki brush to really buff it into the skin. And don't forget to buff it into your neck as well, because we don't want no lines of demarcation. That's not cute. Next, we're gonna go into concealer. And this is my favorite concealer, which is the NARS Radiant Creamy. The purpose here is to bring in dimension after foundation. So I put it in the inner corners as well as the outer corners. I'm going to put this on my upper lip, put a dot on my chin, put a line down my nose and kind of blend it upwards. And then right in the middle of my forehead. And I kind of flick it outwards at the top so that it's easier to blend. Typically we'll let this sit for about a minute and I'll even dry it down with my fan. And this just helps us to have more coverage and to last longer. If you're a beginner, the Beauty Blender is your best friend because it's very easy just to blend out. But the thing with the Beauty Blender is it does pick up more product than a brush. So you also can use a brush that looks similar to this. On the edges, you kind of do that flicking motion and you blend it into the skin. Same thing for the under eyes. For this side, I'm gonna use my Beauty Blender. And the thing about this is sometimes you'll get too much product to come down here. So I'll always take my foundation brush and just go over that blend to make sure that concealer didn't go too far. You also can use the Beauty Blender to soften any lines of demarcation. Then I go into a cream blush. Then I'll just go in with like a stipple brush and blend that out. But I'm real big about placement, so I try to make sure that I keep it where I placed it. So at this point, you can do a brightening concealer, but I wanna make it very clear that this is unnecessary. If you do this step, I like to blend it out with a brush versus a Beauty Blender. This is really important to keep in the right place because we don't want this to go too far. Then I'll go into a cream bronzer. The placement of this is important. I usually will put it right below my blush, across the forehead. And then for the nose, I'll take a brush and brush it around the nose instead of drawing it because that can get a little harsh. Blending the bronzer is important because you want to keep that in the right place as well. So I kind of just push it in and blend it backwards on my head. You see how that just creates a really pretty gradient on the forehead? Yes. Before I set, I'll go in with my foundation brush right underneath. I don't add any extra product. I just do this to sculpt and get that snatched look. You see how now we have creases under the eyes? We want to get rid of that before we set. So I'm gonna go in with my Beauty Blender and look upwards and make sure those creases are gone. I rub the powder on the back of my hand, I look up, and then I place it directly onto the skin. We're looking up so that it doesn't set into any creases. Then I'll continue to take that lighter powder and press it everywhere where I had concealer. Now we have to set the rest of the face, so we're gonna go into a deeper skin tone powder. I'm gonna use a fluffier brush and make sure most of that product is off of there. And then I'll just press this into the skin to set everything else in place. Now we're gonna go into a powder blush, which is going to reinforce the cream blush that we already put on and set that in place. Now we're gonna go into a powder bronzer, and this is gonna do the same thing that the powder blush did. It's gonna reinforce the cream bronzer. It also helps to warm up the face. Additionally, for every day, I'll just wipe some bronzer on my eyes. That way they're not looking naked with a full face of makeup. And it just helps to tie the whole look together. Next, I'm gonna go into a cream highlighter. And I love doing a cream highlighter because it helps to bring the luminosity back into the face. The face is pretty much done, so we're gonna set it. And this is the One Size Until Dawn setting spray. Then we're gonna go into mascara. And then I'm going into a brown lip liner. And I don't overline my lips, I just go with my natural line. And I love a nude glossy lip for every day. So I'm going into this lip gloss and placing it right in the middle of my lips. And then I'll just build it up from there. And girl, we're all done. I do this pretty much every day. When I'm not in a rush, I'm just taking my time, listening to my music, doing my thing. Yeah, this is what we got. Let me know in the comments if you tried this look. I would love to see your makeup, sis. Bye, girl.
Okay, sis, so you want to learn how to do your makeup and you want to brush up on your makeup skills and you want to learn how to perfect your makeup, I got you. Sit tight. So first and foremost, you want to start off with a clean face, okay? Wash your face with whatever face wash you prefer. Put some type of moisturizer on your face, okay? I already put moisturizer on my face. I use the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Toner. And I just put that all over my face. You don't want to start with a dry face. The makeup is not going to sit right. Second of all, moisturize those lips, okay? Put some type of Vaseline, some type of cocoa butter, some type of lip gloss, lip oil, lip balm on your lips. This is important. Shave those hairs off your brows, okay? Clean up your eyebrows. It makes all the difference. You don't want makeup sitting on top of hair. Makeup does not cover hair. You're going to see your hairs through your makeup and it's not going to look as neat and as precise as you want it to look. I really don't have face hair. I don't shave my face, but I do have a little like peach fuzz right here. So yeah, clean it up. And then I have a little bit of chin hair too. You want your face to look like a baby's bottom, okay? Next step, add some translucent powder to your brows, okay? Before you fill them in, you want that brow pencil to stick to something. You don't want a oily brow when you're trying to fill them in because it's just gonna make a mess. Next step, comb your brows up into place, okay? Don't just leave them like this when you're trying to fill them in. You need to comb them into place so you can have a perfect guide on how to fill in your eyebrows. Now this is a mess, okay? We together, we still here, okay. I'm gonna do long light strokes. Now, I know some of y'all are heavy-handed, but you're gonna have to lighten up, okay? Lighten that hand up, like lift that hand up a little bit. Light, soft, gentle strokes, okay? Don't want to be too heavy because you're gonna darken your brow and make it bold and make it look boxy and all of that. So just, okay, so now when your brow is outlined right, fill the brow in with short strokes, okay? Short hair-like strokes. So now to clean up the brows, you want to take a concealer shade, at least one shade lighter than you. Some on the back of my hand, and I'll go in with a paintbrush. If you don't have a paintbrush, get you a paintbrush. This is a game changer. It's from Amazon. This is the best brow brush ever. I'm gonna lay it flat. You wanna lay it flat. You don't wanna do this. You wanna lay it flat. Like that. And then when it comes to that arch, I change positions and I go in upward with the brow pencil. Brush. You wanna have a steady hand, take your time, voila. What I like to do, I like to connect my concealers like I have a unibrow, just so I know where to start my other brow, because I don't want my brows to be uneven like that. Clean up the concealer. Small concealer brush to clean up the concealer. Wearing eyeshadow, you can drag it down to your eyelids and use it as a primer or base for your eyeshadow. Look at the brows. Look at the brows. You cannot deny them. You want to set your brows where you concealed it. You want your concealer to stay in place and your brows to last. Takes away that oily look too. Okay, next, prime your face, okay? Use a primer on your face to make your makeup last, okay? I like the Milk Hydro Grip or the e.l.f. Power Grip. It makes your makeup sticks to your face. Even if you're an oily person, prime your face. Use a primer that is good for your skin type. I fan it or I just let it air dry. Look at that. Ooh. So now for foundation, this is the House Labs foundation. A couple of pumps on the back of my hand, just like that. And I apply it all over my face. I'm not a color correct person because I usually like full cover foundations anyways. I really don't feel the need to do any color correcting. We should be looking something like this. I like to wet my face a little bit and I just take some setting spray or setting mist. Just spray a little bit on my face to wet up the foundation a little bit. Look how juicy and glowy my skin looks. Make sure your brushes are clean, honey. It's not the cleanest brush, but it's clean, okay? It makes all the difference. The little details count. And we pat the foundation into the skin. Patting motions. Pat, 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 pat. And look how beautiful they look. Pat, 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 pat. Get your neck. And if you got a double chin like me, make sure you get under the double chin. Okay, girl. I'm not here to judge. It is what it is, because we eating good. And we looking good too. So I'm gonna give you the sauce, ma'am. Like an airbrush. Look like a filter, right? Just even out your skin tone. That's the purpose of a foundation, okay? I really like applying my concealer first. So we're gonna apply a full coverage concealer. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills. Your concealer can be at least 2 shades lighter than you. Take a clean, damp beauty blender. Just do what works best for me. You gotta make sure you pinch the tip of the beauty blender so you can get into the creases and crevices, your eyes, and make it precise. Get in those tight spots. And we're not swiping, we're patting the concealer in. You see that lift that it gave me? Look how flawless my base looks. Go in with a liquid blush. This is the Rare Beauty blush. When I tell you this stuff is pigmented, so a little goes a long way, okay? Here. These are the apples of my cheeks. I start above in an angled direction. Tap it lightly in. Oh, that is gorgeous. Just tap it right in. You can tap it into your temples as well to give you that chiseled, sculpted look. You're looking like the handsome Squidward, okay? So next we're going to use a brightening concealer to brighten up the under eyes. At least 3 shades lighter than me. And blend it out. Now you can go brighter if you want to. That's fine to me. This is my preference.
Do my makeup using Black owned products only. Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder. This is gonna serve as my primer. Texture almost reminds me of shea butter. This product has a very subtle shimmery base. Oh my god. List Beauty Foundation. This is shade DPP1. I always say this product reminds me of a delicious Snickers bar. Always so obsessed with how this product blends into my skin. Like, guys. Next, I'm gonna mix both of these concealers by Win Beauty. 360 is gonna be my base shade. I'm gonna let that sit for a little before blending. Yes, you're seeing correctly. I have a beauty blender in my hand. I decided to do things just a little bit different today. But I will go back to my brush when I add my brightening concealer. I always like to bring my neutral concealer up on my eyelid. It also helps to clean up underneath your eyebrow. Wow, Serena, I look so awake. What did you put in this, girl? I'm gonna add shade 345 on top of this. And I'm gonna go in with my brush to blend this out because I really want this product to stay in place. Fenty Match Stick. This is shade Ebony. This was actually the first concealer stick that I ever bought. Before I do my eyes, I'm gonna set and bake with Juvia Silky Finishing Powders. If you haven't seen me use these powders by now, then you don't watch my videos enough. I always like to set with warm honey. If you're a very oily girl like me, use a lot of powder. I'm gonna use shade Shortbread. Use my brush and soften the edges to use a little bit of that excess powder on my eyelid and underneath my brow. Next, I'm gonna use Juvia's Place Bronze Palette. I really love this step. It just adds all the warmth back to your face. I do think I'm feeling for a slight pop of color today. Juvia's Place palette is always the best palette for that. I honestly don't even think they sell the Masquerade minis anymore because I've had this for so long. I'm gonna use the Chocolates palette as well. The first shade I'm gonna use is this nude shade. I don't know what it's labeled because for some reason there's no label on it. Like I said, these are older palettes though, guys. Use my packing brush and apply shade Zulu. Lastly, I'm gonna use shade Fulani just to add a little bit more depth to the eyes. Adding some of that same color Zulu to the bottom. Fortunately, my supply of Black owned blushes is kind of non-existent, so I went ahead and just added a blush I already had, but I couldn't do a look without blush. Like, that would have just looked terrible. Lips, I'm gonna use this lip liner by Win Beauty in shade Confidence. I swear Black women are the only ones to be trusted to make liners that actually show up. This is so pretty. Win Beauty lipstick in shade Greek. Beautiful, chocolate, yummy. You can leave this matte or you can top it with a gloss. I'm gonna top it with Fenty Beauty Hot Chocolate. Added so much shine without changing the pigment. This is the finished product. Let's get into beauty looks.
There's absolutely no reason you should be looking like Casper the Ghost when you do your makeup in 2024. I'm gonna put an end to all of this and give you guys a 10-step beginner makeup routine. First, we're gonna go in with some primer, and I'm gonna use my e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. And you just wanna pat the product into your skin, not rub, pat the product. And this is going to ensure that your makeup stays on all day and doesn't crease. And then you're going to wait 30 seconds for the product to absorb and activate. And before y'all come tussling in my comment section, everything will be listed in my Shop My in my bio. Next, we're gonna go in with some foundation, and I like using my NARS Light Reflecting Foundation in New Caledonia. And then you're gonna, oh, that means I need to restock. I normally just apply 2 pumps because I don't think it's necessary to put that much product. This is ghetto. Don't do what I'm doing though. You want to pump it on your hands. It's more hygienic. And then you want to grab a buffing brush and just start buffing the product into your skin. And you want to make sure to avoid your under eye when you're blending out your foundation because we don't want our concealer to crease. And make sure to get your foreheads as well. Next, you're gonna go in with some concealer, and I like using my Too Faced Born This Way concealer in Chestnut. And I like using 1 dot. You don't really need that much product. I also like applying it to my chin, but you don't have to. And now we're just gonna do a little bit of contouring, and I like using my Matchstick by Fenty in the color Espresso. And I like making a fish face when I do my contour. And the other side. And then to make sure that everything is blended out properly, I like using a skin refresher spray. And then you're gonna go in with a brush or beauty blender to blend everything out, but I like using my brush. And you want to make sure that you're lightly tapping the product. I'm just gonna use the beauty blender on my other eye just to show you guys how it blends out properly as well. See how both came out the same? It's all in the power of your hands. Now we're gonna blend out our contour, and I'm gonna use a contour brush to blend everything out. I'm gonna go in and blend out my nose concealer. I'm going to contour my nose as well. Next, we're gonna go in with some liquid blush, and I'm gonna mix 2 liquid blushes together. And these are from Juvia's Place in the color Blush Lily and Barbie Rose. And because they're very pigmented, you just wanna add like a dot each. If you use too much, it's gonna be a disaster. Trust me, I have been there. And then you're gonna use like a brush to blend everything out. Next, we're gonna go in with some powder, and I love using my Huda Beauty baking powder. It's like the holy grail of powders. And I'm just gonna use a powder puff to apply the powder to my under eye. And then I like applying it to my chin as well. And then any other spots where I get really oily. And then we're gonna go in with the bronzer. And I love using the Fenty Beauty Mocha Mommy bronzer. And I also like using like a contour brush. And you're just gonna apply the product to where you contoured your face. And I also like applying some to my nose. Then to make ourselves look girly, we're gonna go in with some blush. And I like using my Juvia's Place Volume 4 palette and just applying it to the apples of your cheek. And now that you're done with your face, you're gonna go in with the setting spray. And I like using my Morphe setting spray. Spray that all over your face and just wait for that to dry out. And then for lips, you can go in with a lip combo, or you can just use Vaseline or lip gloss. It doesn't really matter. I like to do an everyday lip combo, which is just a brown liner and a pink lip gloss. And ta-da! Don't tell me I didn't put y'all on. We're not about to look like who in 2024? Oh, okay. Because that's what I thought. Now, if you guys have any more questions, don't be scared to ask me. Bye.
Prime again, lip oil, foundation, conceal, bronze, blend concealer, conceal again, but this time brighten, sharpen, contour the nose, blush, stamp it in, some more blush. That was too much, that was too much, that was too much. Liquid highlighter, back of the hand, tap, wow, glow. Setting powder, brightening powder, some powder bronzer, powder blush, some setting spray, brown eyeliner, some bronzer, smudge it in, brown lip liner, Anastasia Beverly Hills in the shade Warm Taupe, Anastasia Beverly Hills in the shade Latte, mixed with the shade Butterscotch. Use a brush to blend, a little bit more setting spray. Not gonna lie, I quite like it, guys. Here is the final look. Bye.
Let's do our makeup. First, I'm gonna prime with the One Side Secure the Blur Primer. Next, we're gonna use the MAC Strobe Cream to illuminate our skin. just for some glow, 'cause why not? Next, we're gonna use the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Tint. And I do this in two parts because first I conceal with the Sephora Bright Future Serum Concealer. It's my same skin tone, just about. It kind of works as a color corrector. I have a hard time with real color correctors. I feel like it doesn't really blend well for me, or I just don't know how to do it. So we blend that out. And you see, it just kind of like brightens the area, but it's easier to conceal and blend over. I use the shade P8. And what I'm doing is I bring my concealer up to the side of my nose bridge. That helps with contouring. My natural skin tone works as a shadow. It's kind of like that reverse contouring thing. With your concealer, you don't want to bring it up too high under your eyes. I have very baggy eyes, so if I bring it up too high, I'm gonna crease really badly. I just started using a brush to blend out my concealer. I usually use my beauty blender. However, I realized, it took me a while, but I realized that my beauty blender has been eating up product. When I use a brush, I realized that I almost have too much concealer. You wanna start on the edges. That allows you to really have control of where your concealer is going. So that's what I like to do first. On the sides, we're just gonna clean that up and blend. You don't want to take it up too high because you still want that shadow of darkness on the side of your nose. And do the same for the other side. And blend that out. Every single eyebrow video I've done, I am not in frame. I want it to be like very close up, you know? Yeah, so we're gonna try again. You can really start taking it upward now. You don't want the bulk of the concealer to be under, like, at the height of like under your eyes. You want it to be settled around this point versus up where your eyes are. So now that we have that, what I'm gonna do is prep my eyes for my cream blush. First, we are trying to set under the eye, but you don't want to take it out all the way to the side. The reason why is because when we use a cream blush, depending on the formulation, it may not mix well with the powder. So you only want to set under your eye in this area so you don't crease while you are doing your blush. The blush that I use is Dream Pop by Charlotte Tilbury. It is my favorite blush. When you're blending out your blush, you want most intensity to be in the center of where your placement is. If you're taking a blush up high or up down low, the intensity should always be in the center versus on the edges. I have a very round and cheeky face, so I do take my blush down a bit towards the center because keeping it only in this corner just does not look good on me. I think I just have to work with my face. Okay. Now we're gonna set our under eyes with the Huda Beauty Cherry Blossom Powder. And now we can take it out towards the side. I use this powder because it is pink and I feel like it blends better with my blush. For our chin, we're actually gonna use Blondie from Huda Beauty. I'm gonna use Medium Deep by Laura Mercier on my forehead because I don't want my forehead to be too highlighted. Now we're gonna highlight our nose bridge. I use the Pat McGrath concealer to do this. Keep the line really skinny. I like to let this sit while I do my bronzer. I use the NARS Laguna powder in Laguna 8. And I kind of bring it up just a little bit so it blends seamlessly into my blush. Okay, you're gonna lay that down. And you want it to be right under cheek area. You don't want to take it up too high. So it's better to start off low and then go upward. We're going to now blush again. Kind of like do a concoction of blushes until it makes sense. I like it because it blends in with my blush. So it gives me a bit of a glow, but it's the same color as my blush. I need to stop taking risks like that because that could have ended, but we're good. I need to stop. I need to be stopped. We're going to go over it with the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Finish Powder. Mine is broken and busted. I love it and I take it everywhere. I'm gonna just blend my bottom. Okay,
Now I'm highlighting my nose bridge with Global Glow from MAC. It's like an iridescent color. I set it once with the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. And I used the Urban Decay All Nighter Spray. I'm gonna blend out this line as well.
Natural everyday makeup using only 6 products. Invest in a natural lightweight foundation. I have on Armani Luminous Silk in shade 13.5. Second, get a concealer that is 1 to 2 shades lighter than your foundation. This is Haus Labs concealer in shade 43. Get a good liquid or cream blush. NARS Afterglow Liquid Blush in shade Insatiable. Set that with a translucent powder or a powder that matches your concealer. I'm using Laura Mercier in shade Medium Deep. Get a nice natural brown or whatever your new tone is lip liner. I'm using Fenty, the shade is Browned Out. I love to add a complimentary pigmented lip balm. YSL Candy Glow in shade 62Y200. Lastly, get a nice clump-free mascara like CoverGirl's Lash Blast Super Cloud. And that's all you need for some simple everyday makeup.
Only thing that's saving you is the heart of a woman. Yeah.
Everybody wanna say shit. I don't care what they say about us now. Yeah, I don't wanna have no conversation. They just wanna fuck it all up now. Yeah, I like bad bitches, mad riches. If you ain't 100, then you can't sit with us. No, you can't sit with us. I like bad bitches, mad riches. If you ain't 100, then you can't sit with us. If it's true, the morning sets and flowers bloom, and every day I feel consumed. Is this the end or something new? I miss you. I miss you. I miss you.
Hey y'all, do my client's birthday makeup with me. So I've been doing this girl's birthday makeup every year since 2019. Well, obviously we skipped 2020, but I just love the fact that like she trusts me and she comes back every year, and that just helps me like understand her more because I know her vibe, I know her style. She don't like too much. She's a simple girl. She changes it up every year, but it's always a very simple, clean look. So I started off with the brows first, and I'm just concealing underneath the brows using my Born This Way concealer in Toffee and Butterscotch, and I'm going to blend that concealer all over her lid because we're not doing eyeshadow for this look. I just need the color to be pretty unison on her eyelid, and I'm going to set that using the Sacha Buttercup Banana. Sacha Buttercup? Yeah, that's what it's called. Sacha Buttercup Banana. Y'all know what I'm talking about. To prep her skin, I'm going in with the Bobbi Brown Enriched Cream all over her face and neck. And her skin was a bit more dry, so we're going in with the Tarte Base Tape Hydrating Primer, one of my favorite primers. For foundation, I'm trying to remember the foundation. I did this look a couple of days ago, but I'm going to assume we used NARS and MAC Studio Fix. For her under eye, I'm going in with a golden, more of a yellow tone concealer. If you kind of look, you can see on her chest where it gets a bit light. You can see where it's more like yellow and golden. And because she likes her makeup like pretty simple, I'm just going to keep it simple and match the natural tones that we already have like on her body. So if you have a hard time picking out concealer shades and contour shades, just look to the person's body and try to match the lightest and darkest spots on their face to help you pick the concealer and contour or bronzing shades for your client. So I'm just blending everything out. I blend the foundation out first, then go out to blend out the under eye. And I like to use brushes because my personal preference is a fuller coverage. Even if somebody prefers a more natural look, I'll just use like less products, quote unquote. But yeah, I like to go in with brushes because it's just my personal like preference. Once everything wet is blended out on her face, I'm going to go in and set it with the powder. So I set her under eyes and I'm leaving a little bit of powder to bake. And then I set all over her face using the MAC Studio Fix powder, foundation powder. Yeah, it'll be, I cannot keep up with the names of everything. But yeah, bronzed her skin, contoured her skin. Then went in with my Ben Nye blush palette to blush up her cheeks. Before I went in with more of that Juvia's Place bronzer in dark to deep and dark to contour and define her cheeks. She has such beautiful features and I really want them to pop. She loves a bold brow. She loves a clean face. So like I really want to take her features and just like amplify them. Spray her face down with a Morphe Continuous spray to get rid of that powdery look. And then I'm also going to push the spray into the skin. Simple nude lip. My favorite lip liner, the Mousse Makeup Forever Dark Dimension, and I just did a pinky nude. And to give this look more interest, she wanted a glossy eye, so I'm using my NYX Buttercream in Clear Gloss, my favorite gloss to use on a lid. It's nice, sticky, thin, lightweight, does not crease, long lasting. I really love it on the eye. And this is the final look. Happy birthday. Well, her birthday came and went, but yeah. Anyway, bye. See y'all in the next one.
Nobody told you. Your pressure. I've been with triplets, I've been with twins, I've been so long, where do I begin? To me, you are the
beginner-friendly makeup look. Skincare is so important, so make sure you start off your makeup look on moisturized, hydrated skin. Primer. This is a hydrating primer. I love starting off with something that's super moisturizing for my base. We're going to apply that everywhere. Foundation. Blend. My technique actually is using a brush first, and if I like, a beauty blender after. A shade match. Beautiful. Concealer. But when I first started makeup, I always started really simple and never did too much. We're just going to make sure we use a little amount and blend out properly. Now, because I'm keeping this beginner friendly, I'm also not going to be contouring. And with that in mind, we're going to make sure we don't spread this concealer so far and wide. So we just keep it where we need to brighten and kind of like waken up. Another tip is using your foundation brush and just dabbing over those areas, but mostly the corners, so there are no harsh lines. This is actually a perfect way to make sure your concealer is blended in nicely. So I'm just dabbing again. We are not moving the position of the products, we are just blending out. One of my favorite things to do is using a beauty blender. This is a damp one. It takes off that excess. It actually takes off some of the shine as well, and it leaves you with such a flawless base. Powder. I really like to go pretty soft and light, and then I can go in again with a more fluffier brush. Don't want to put too much pressure so you're not moving any product.
brows, so I'm making sure to comb it in place. You could use a brow gel if you want, and I'm using a brow pencil to fill in my brows. Following my brow shape, and then we go back in with our spoolie, our brow brush, to make sure everything's nicely blended. If you notice you have a bit of creasing, you could just go back in with some more powder. Mascara, lip liner. If you want, you can use a brown lip liner. I like black. Lip gloss, setting spray. This is to make sure your makeup lasts all day and also to remove the powdery look so it looks even more natural. Just wait for that to dry down. My final tip is to go over with some powder. There you go, a simple beginner-friendly makeup look. I look incredible. I hope this was helpful. Bye!
Run for shoddy, call him Ed Sheeran, he in love with my body. Get into it, yo. Pop out with a truck, get into it, yo. If you go to church, I said get into it, yo. I just she ain't got a butt, I forget get into it, yo. And I said I just got a ball, get into it, yo. Pop out with a truck, get into it, yo. If you go to church, get into it, yo. If she ain't got a butt, forget get into it, yo. Y'all need to get into the drip like a piranha. Y'all need to get into my drip like y'all need water. I mean, it's only head to toe, Balenciaga. I mean, y'all bitches better, y'all like Ariana. If they ever tryna knock up, put my foot up in your caca. Call your mama and your papa like I'm finna take a dada. Turn that bitch into a soccer ball and rocka, rocka, rocka. Get into it like a suit and fuck a stock up like a rocka.
Hi girlies, let me show you how I achieve this really natural beat. I always have to make sure my brows are in place with the NYX brow glue. A little pro tip that I learned is taking some translucent powder and putting it on your eyebrows so it won't slide off when you do go ahead and fill in your brows, and plus it dries down faster. I also been ditching primer lately and been using the Youth to the People serum as my primer, and it's been having my base looking really good, really smooth. And then of course I take some foundation, not too close to my under eye, and work this all around my face. And I honestly been getting a lot of little comments about the whole Kylie Cosmetics thing. It has some of y'all in a frenzy, but I am a beauty influencer and I am going to want to try different products by different brands. Another little tip is taking the butt of your beauty blender, I know the butt, and just blending out any harsh lines that you may have underneath your under eye. Then I go in with some blush. I've been loving the whole concealer, and then adding blush, it just makes the process so much smoother and so much better. And I don't know why I didn't blend out my nose too, but I go in with some bronzer as well and puts all around my face, really warm me back up. And I like my nose contour to be really soft and settled, so I go in with a shade that's not too dark for me. And plus nose contour is like low-key optional in a way. And I go in with my setting powder and puts all around my face. Normally I forget to set my entire face, but this time I did not, so I set my entire face, my contour, my everything. Now I love the whole reverse contour look, but I went ahead and did a little bit because I don't want it to be too harsh or just too bold for me. Then I go back in with some powdered blush because I did cover up my original cream blush. Now my girls be asking me like what's my lip combo, and here you have it. This is my simple lip combo. Now is the look really done if you don't add eyeliner? I just love the whole eyeliner look. Then I top it off with some bottom mascara to really give it that bottom lash look, and I spray my face down, and there you have it. This is how I achieve this really natural beat. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Bye!
Hey guys, so I have an updated makeup tutorial for you. First, I do my skincare as primer. Then I put in my black eye contacts, which are linked in my bio. And I put this powder on my smile lines because my smile lines crease and I hate when they crease, and pretty much anywhere else I get oil. I'm currently using an Urban Decay sample in shade 33, and I use my Morphe setting mist on my brush and then put the foundation on. It's a little dark, but it looks well in the end anyways. I go in with my Morphe setting mist all over my foundation, and then I use my concealer under my eyes, forehead, and pretty much anywhere where I want to brighten up. I blend it out and then go with an even lighter concealer in pretty much the same areas I wanted to brighten up. Of course, I go in and blend all those spots out after. Then I go in with the same loose powder from earlier and put it in the spots that I want to brighten up again, and also over my smile lines once again. This is what it looks like after you pat all of it in. I don't brush it off. Then I use my Fit Me powder under my eyes, on my forehead, and also on my chin. I do it just to kind of make sure the oil doesn't seep through those parts. Then I go in with my Fit Me loose powder and put it on the spots that I wasn't trying to brighten up. This is just kind of to neutralize that darker foundation. Then I use this bronzer, and I kind of just recently got into bronzer, so I low-key don't even know what I was doing. I kind of just put it in spots where I've seen other people do it, and yeah, I don't know what I was doing. Yep, just put it everywhere. Anyways, I use this old blush that I found in a dresser in my house, and it looks good. If you want a blush like this, I recommend Juvia's Place. Anyways, I just put bronzer on my nose, and then I go everywhere with Morphe setting this like 3 times, make sure it dries, and then go again, okay? Next, I use contour on my nose. Do what contour fits you best. Don't just copy me. Find what contour fits your nose, because I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. Low-key, I just be playing in my face and hope it looks good, and eventually it ended up looking good a year later. So, anyways, next I do my eyebrows. I'm also pretty new to eyebrows as well, so I don't really know if I'm the best person, but I just fill it in and then shape it out with the brush. This is what it looks like in the end. Next, I go in my highlighter on the inner corners of my eyes, and then I do my highlighter on my nose. And then I started to do my eyeliner, and I don't really know how to record it well, but there's a clip, and I blend out my highlighter next. Next up, I clean my lips up, and then I put sunscreen, because I'm not trying to have my lips look black like those other Dior lip oil incidents. And I do my lip liner, and then just pretty much put some lipstick. And then, I don't know why I said lipstick like that, but anyways, then I, dance. Okay, y'all are ready for this transit. Whoa! Okay, now lip gloss. More lipstick. And ta-da! We are done. If you guys like this makeup tutorial, please follow me. Thank you. Oh, and goodbye.
Copy and paste alt makeup tutorial. First, prep your skin with moisturizer and primer. After, fill in the ends of your brow with black eyeshadow or eyeline. I use both. Shape out bottom brow with concealer that's 2 shades lighter than your foundation, and for the top do the same but with your shade. For my base, I start with foundation and contour. I do my concealer last. Blendo. Add concealer where needed. I use a black liquid eyeliner, and I sharpen my inner corners and make a wing at the end. Set all liquid products with a setting powder or loose powder. Make a line with brown eyeshadow and under eyes. Add bronzer and blush. Use a highlight or shimmer outlining the inner corners. Add clusters or lash strips. For my lips, I outline them with a liquid contour and set with brown eyeshadow.
Thank you for watching my babies.